Alright, so we're still talking about functions, and we are just getting used to these, kind of building a basic understanding of them before jumping into calculus. So we're trying to find the domain, and I put this graph up here to show you what this function looks like. 2x cubed minus 5 over x squared plus x minus 6. Now, if you were to eyeball it, you would say probably it would go, and maybe it would stop at -3, or maybe it would go to negative infinity, I don't know. And on the right side it looks like it might just go down to positive 2. But that's winging it, and calculus is all about being as precise as you can. And so we're going to do this algebraically and figure out the domain. So as you know, for the domain, we can always take this bottom part. If we were to work out, and we're going to take this bottom part and set it to 0. If we were to take the top part and set it to 0, you would find where the function crosses the x-axis, which would be right here. Okay, and that's kind of neat. But anyways, so you've got x squared plus x minus 6 equals 0. So x squared plus x minus 6 equals 0. Now, we're going to have to factor this, and most people are not terribly competent at factoring, and I'm going to show you a really easy way that you can factor things pretty quickly. Of course, you can just throw your two parentheses down and say x and x, plus and minus, but there's another way if you don't like that way. So it's called, I like to call it the AB system. And you take this middle component, and so you're going to have two numbers. You're going to have an A and you're going to have a B. And you're going to have what's called A plus B, and that's going to equal whatever number is in front of this x. So if it's 30x, you're going to put a 30 right here. If it's a 1, which it is, you're going to put a 1. So we're going to put a 1. And then you're going to have your A times B, and it's always going to equal this number right here, a -6. Or if it was -2 million, it'd be a -2 million, and you'd put that right here. But so it's -6. Okay, and so what you want to do is you draw like a little list like here, and you say what two numbers are going to give me a -6. And so you go and you do the A plus B, same thing. What two numbers are going to give me a 1? And these numbers should coincide, but so what you do is you go, okay, well, let's see here. A -6 times 1 is going to give me a -6. A -1 times 6 is also going to give me a -6. A -2 times 3 is going to give me a -6, just like a -3 times a 2 is going to give me a -6. And then you look at these, and now you do your AB, so it's got to equal 1. So you say -6 minus, -6, because this is plus 1 is going to give me a -5. And then you've got a -6 minus 1 is going to give you a +5. And then you're like, that's not going to work because it's got to equal 1. So you got this +3 and a -2. What do you know? That is going to give you 1. So you say 3 minus 2 obviously equals 1. So these are the numbers, -2 and -3. So how you write this is this is the next part. So you go x squared, and then you say 3 minus, so you say 3x minus 2x, so that's all you do. You go plus 3x minus 2x. See, so all we're doing is we're substituting these. So 3x minus 2x is going to give you 1x, right? And then you just go back and you put the normal thing right there. So that's all we've done. We've just substituted that, and if you were to do this, 3x minus 2x is obviously x, and this, okay, so this right here is the same as this. We've just rewritten it. Okay, so now we're going to factor, and what you're going to do is you're going to do this number and this number and these two numbers separately. So we're going to say an x plus 3. So that's going to be x squared plus 3x, which is that part. And then we're going to do the second part. And so what can we factor out of a 2x, a negative 2x, and a negative 6? Well, we can factor a negative 2. So we got our negative right here. So you say 2 times x plus 3. So if we were to do this, we got negative 2x minus 2 times 3 is 6, so minus 6. So this is the same deal. Well, we've got an x plus 3 plus an x plus 3. So you can factor that out. And you've got a negative 2 and an x, so x minus 2. And there you are, and now you have that factored. That's just showing you, because obviously you could have guessed the numbers, and that's probably what most people do. If you hate factoring, you'll just guess it until you figure out the right numbers. But if it's a more complicated problem, if you use this method, it's really good. And if there's, like, say, a 3 on this x, then for the a times b, what you would do is, like, say if there's a 2 right here, what you do is you take that negative 6 times 2, and so your a times b would actually equal like a negative 12, and then you'd find the numbers for that. So anyways, but we've got this factored, and so you say x plus 3 equals 0, which means x equals a negative 3, and then you also say x minus 2 equals 0, which means x equals 2. So now you have your two numbers, a negative 3 and a 2, and this is where the function is going to be undefined, which means every number besides these two numbers of the function are all real numbers. And so how you would write this for your final answer, you would say the domain. So the domain is negative infinity. So remember, these are all real numbers. This is the only area where it is undefined. So you say negative infinity, and it goes way over here, all the way, negative infinity. And then it's going to become undefined right on this negative 3 x-axis. So then you say to negative 3. And then it's going to skip or jump. Okay? And then you go negative 3 to where? To 2. Okay? And then it skips or jumps because it doesn't actually touch that. It's undefined in that area. And then you go from 2 here to infinity. And that is the domain for this function. Hope that helped. I'll probably do maybe 1 or 2 more videos for functions, just so you definitely have this basic concept down.